What's up, y'all, and welcome back to Dad Needs to Talk. I'm your host, Robert, and today we are starting off year two of the podcast with a banger because I just got back from watching Jujutsu Kaizen movie Zero, finished up Kotaro Lives Alone, and we're going to take a trip down nostalgia lane talking about Toonami's 25th anniversary. So let's get to it. Those of y'all that might be watching the video version, you can see my very dope Jujutsu Kaizen shirts I have on that I wore to the movie, and I'm gonna see, hopefully I don't knock nothing down, see if I can show off the back of it. Now, just to describe for all the audio listeners, on the front of the shirts, it says Jujutsu High School, and it has Yuji, Nobara, Maki, Megumi, Panda, Gojo, and Inumaki, all chilling together, looking cute. And then on the back, it's all their like different symbols and stuff. But before I jump into the movie and all that jazz, as always, if this is your first time here, then welcome. But if you're a returning listener or watcher, then welcome back. We are here for another week of awesomeness to kick off this next go round of podcasting. So yeah, so this episode's gonna be a little well, for me it feels a little bit weird because I'm recording this a little bit early, but it's still gonna go up at the same time. So I'm not really gonna talk about much manga today, just because this week the manga is releasing on Friday, but I'm going out of town for the next few days to take some chill time. And then next week, or the week that this is posting, I'm going to do my best to not do any recording. So I've already got some stuff. There will still be stuff going up this week, which I'll touch on in a second. But I'm going to try to honestly take an actual break because I did not do a good job of that this week, because all my family was gone. Kids were gone. Wife is gone. Just me and the cats. And yeah. So didn't really chill as much as I really should have. And that is on me and my unhealthy habits. So I'm going to try to be strict with myself this week and not record nothing. So, and try to minimize my social media presence. So, and speaking of which, I have kind of, and I'm not kind of jumping into the deep end, but one thing I kind of want to do better about, and I touched on this a little bit last week on the anniversary episode, but kind of better balancing, how much time I'm spending online and these different apps, and, kind of, doing other stuff. Because I definitely admire a lot of my friends in the community, like Sundari, Lisa from Wonder of Anime, the homies over at Kami House Podcasts, and Mama Loves Manga, of how they just take breaks. They dip out. You might see them online for a minute to maybe, make a comment or to retweet a new video or a new podcast episode, but then they go ghost. So what I have done is, now a year or so ago, I had already kind of muted Facebook notifications, so I don't see them until I actually go into the app. And then I did the same thing with Discord a few months back, to where, just because I was getting into so many Discords, I'm in like a Discord with a few people there. I'm in a Discord for manga tubers. I'm in a Discord for content creators. I'm in all these different Discords. I'm like, okay, too many notifications, mute. And so I also made the choice the anniversary week to also mute Twitter notifications. So it's like I only see them when I get into the app. So if you DM me or something or tweet at me or whatever, I might not immediately see it, but it's like I'm just trying to do better about minimizing my time. And why is there a fly in my closet? Can't catch a break. But I hope everybody out there is having an awesome day, awesome week. Like I said, this episode, I'm going to try not to go too long because I got to make sure I have everything packed for my trip and stuff. Because once I leave the house for work in the morning, I'm not coming back for a few days. So, trying to make sure I have everything in order and all that fun jazz. But a little bit of housekeeping I want to do up top, and then we'll kind of get into a few things. Because like I said, because of the timing of me recording and then all this other jazz, the manga chapters for this week had dropped on Friday. So I'm already be at work. And so at first I was like, well, maybe I can try to record after work. But then I'm like, no. It's like I got to have a cutoff. It's okay to not be on point with every single thing all the time. It'll just mean that, hey, next week's episode, I'll just have a double dose of discussion for some chapters or whatever. But yeah. So a little bit of housekeeping up front. Because last week, I recorded that anniversary episode so freaking late at night. It was like, I didn't start recording until probably past midnight. And then I didn't get done until 2 a.m. So, yeah. That was I was already off to a bad start with my relaxation week last week. So in the haste of me kind of in this weird fog state of rest, unrest, all this stuff, whatever, I forgot to shout out some people that kind of been supporting me for a super long time. And so I want to make sure I give a shout out again. I talk about them all the time, but I want to make sure I do it again. My friends over at the Kami House podcast, Crystal, Ren, and Bilal. Love y'all, love y'all, love y'all. Thank y'all so much for always shouting me out, supporting me, all that jazz. Same thing with the homie, Shakita, from Wild, Weird, and Witchy podcast. Because she is definitely one of the first people I kind of connected with last year when I first started doing podcasting and stuff. And so I was like, oh my God, how could I forget to shout her out? And I want to say thank you, Shakita, for shouting me out and my 1 year anniversary on your most recent episode where she reviewed the anime Toradora. So go check that out. Go check her stuff out. Like I said, go check out Kami House Podcast. And also, big shout out to the homie in the UK, Ash from Giant Shooty Robot Podcast, who is also the founder, creator behind blackanimepodcast.com. Because without him and that directory, I would not have met probably a fraction of the people that I have met in the last year. And just for anybody who doesn't know, blackanimepodcast.com is a website that is a directory of over 170 as of the day of me recording this, over 170 podcasts or anime/manga podcasts that are done by black content creators, men, women, everybody in between, all shapes and sizes. So yeah, so shout out to him as well. And for the first time, and this feels so awesome to be able to do this just 1 week later, I got day one, my first 2 Patreon supporters. The day I launched it last week during the anniversary episode, the homie Matt B, who not saying I'm trying not to say everybody's full names because, don't know who wants to know what, don't know what, whatever. But Matt has been supporting me since day one of the podcast last year. Because actually, like I mentioned last week, he's been following me, or we've known each other online since before I was even doing the podcast. But he's been there day one, and same thing. He came through on the Patreon last week and signed up, supporting me out the gate. And same thing to another friend of mine. I'm not gonna say her legal name just because I don't know if she wants to have that out there, but I'll just say Miss K. But y'all also know her as the Honey Goat. She streams on Twitch, and y'all might also remember me and her did a podcast episode last fall celebrating and talking about the One Piece anime episode 1000. So that was a very dope episode, and like I said, she also came through and showed your boy some love. So thank you to Matt and Miss K. I love y'all. Y'all are both very awesome for coming through day one and supporting me on the Patreon page. So while I'm also on the track of housekeeping and stuff, I'm trying to think order of operations. Some of this y'all might have seen, some of this y'all might not. But this week I have 2 reviews coming out. I did a review for, well, there will also be another 20th Century Boys discussion for volumes 7 and 8. That probably would have came out Friday. So yeah, y'all probably see that on the timeline already. But The Country Without Humans manga volume 1, that'll be going out this week, as well as Catch These Hands volume 1. Both of these were great reads. Go check out my review / thoughts of both of those, and yeah, let me know what y'all thought. I'm just gonna show these off because these will not be in my, by the time y'all see this podcast episode, these will no longer be in my possession, because I was going around and collecting these for my decade long plus now. A friend of mine, Bree, who one of the people I'm going to visit with this weekend, made an abyss, because she's already read it. I've already read a lot of the manga as well, but she's been trying to hunt down and collect the physical volumes. So I managed to find, and I know she'll be very happy because I haven't told her which ones I found yet, but I managed to find volume 1, 2, 6, 7, and 9. And then I think she already has a pre-order because volume 10 is actually coming out at the end of April. So yeah. So if you have not watched or read Made in Abyss, check it out. It is super dope. But do not let the cute little children on the cover fool you. It is not a lighthearted series. It is very dark and very mature toned. So just know that going in. But yeah. So that's that. And also just shout out to some continuations, which I felt was very fitting to have these behind me, since we are continuing into the next year of the podcast. I got Die Dark Volume 3, Karate Survivor Volume 3, and Young Ladies Don't Play Fighting Games Volume 2. So I picked those up over the last week. So yeah. Now, let's see. I think that's pretty much it for housekeeping. Like, so I'm going to kind of keep that stuff short. Let me see. Only real kind of news things I just want to kind of give like a quick shout out to is the studio that made Until Dawn, or what are called Supermassive Games. They made Until Dawn back like 2015, I believe. And they also have been doing the Dark Pictures anthology games. Well, they announced a new game called The Quarry. Now, this game looks very interesting and definitely more up my alley, like how like how whatchamacallit, Until Dawn was. Now I am definitely not the biggest kind of like horror, or I don't even know. I don't even know if I would call it horror, but let me show y'all. But yeah, that's the cover art for the Quarry, and basically the premise of it is that it's the last day of summer camp, and there's all these teenage camp counselors or whatever, and so basically on the last day, weird stuff starts to happen, and you basically have to survive. So if you never played Until Dawn, that also is kind of like these I think, was it teens or young adults? I think it might have been young adults going camping in this winter cabin, and then all of a sudden these like weird things started happening, and some creatures are snatching up people. And basically it's the type of game to where anybody or everybody can die, and so it's kind of like you playing through making choices and things of that nature, and just trying to survive. And so that's what this game is going to be, and this is going to be coming out this summer actually, and it should be coming out, I believe, on everything: PlayStation, Xbox, PC. So yeah, like I said, I'm very looking forward to that. If you never played Until Dawn and you like a little bit of like a kind of a campy, not full on horror, a little bit of like a action thriller thing, where you kind of like make choices and stuff, go check out Until Dawn. So I can't speak for the Dark Pictures games. I've heard mixed reception on those, but I've never played them myself. But like I said, I'm definitely looking forward to this. This is coming out in June, so just a handful of months away. So that's that. Let me see. I want to touch on very briefly a new game that came out today called Tunic. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. So, Tunic is this little game, just came out today, I believe. Let me see what our platforms it's on. Sorry, I should have pulled this up. Let's see, Tunic. Okay, so right now it is only on PC and Xbox. So it is a timed console exclusive. And it's on Game Pass. So I played barely like 30 minutes of it, if that. But basically, if you're watching the little video clip, but basically it's more or less a kind of like a Zelda, very heavily Zelda inspired game, where you play as this little fox going around basically fighting enemies and stuff. Like if you've played any of the old school Zelda games, you kind of have an idea of what to expect with this. But it plays like that. But I also heard it kind of has like maybe like a little bit of like Dark Souls type of elements, like very light Dark Souls elements in it. And one little cooler thing I like about this that I just saw out the gate is that, and that I heard a little bit on like one of my other gaming podcasts I was listening to earlier today, whatever, is basically you're collecting basically the game manual for the game, and it looks so freaking cute and adorable, and you're basically collecting the pages for the manual, I should say. And so it has all these like little hints and stuff like how you would in games back in the day. And so yeah, and you kind of like flip through and zoom in on different parts of it or whatever, but it just looks so really dope. But like I said, I just mainly wanted to bring this up. Like I said, I barely played 30 minutes of it, but I wanted to at least like put this on your radar, because like I said, if you have an Xbox and you have Game Pass, check it out. Like I said, just from the very small taste I got and the hype it's getting this week online, it's definitely something that I always say to check out. Like I said, it's on Game Pass, so not gonna cost you nothing extra. So but yeah, looks like it might be good fun time. It probably won't be that long of a game either. So, but yeah, definitely just wanted to touch on that, show that some love. And let's see. Okay, I think that's it for like the minor stuff. They also showed like there was a state of play where they showed some gameplay of that Harry Potter Hogwarts Legacy game, or whatever. There was a little bit of footage that also came out for the new the Dead Space remake last week. There was a little bit of little thing shown for that. And yeah, that's it. Don't really care about nothing else too much. So let's dive into some of this other stuff. So let's see where to start. You know what? Let's since it's like super fresh on my mind, let's start off talking about this Jujutsu Kaisen Zero movie. Now, I'm gonna keep it very light, but I am gonna talk about it a little bit or whatever. So as always, I'll have timestamps down in the description below, in case if you haven't seen the movie yet or whatever, or you just don't care, you can skip ahead. But yeah, so for those of you who do not know, or just a refresher, Jujutsu Kaisen Zero is a prequel to the main storyline, to where it takes place at least like a year or so before the main story, where Yuji comes in and Megumi them come into the picture. And it follows Yuta Ototsuki, I believe I'm saying that, but basically Yuta and his curse, Rika. And kind of an interesting thing is that like at one point in time, Yuta was going to be the main character of Jujutsu Kaisen, but the author ended up deciding to change that, not going with that. And that's kind of where some of this prequel stuff comes into play, was because I think that maybe he might have did like a one shot or something, whatever, that, what's this. But anywho, but yeah, so volume 0. But this movie, out the gate, super dope, like top to bottom, visually top notch. Like we already know what they did with season 1 of the anime, and they pretty much just did that plus some with the movie. And music right out the gate also was super dope. That kind of, I don't know what it was called, but that opening track at the beginning of the movie was really nice, really nice. But yeah, but overall, cause for me, I read Volume 0 a year or so ago, whenever they put it up on the Shonen Jump app, so like probably like over a year ago, and already enjoyed it, but still just seeing all this stuff in action, just so good, so good. And I got to see it in IMAX, so that was even better. And also, by the time y'all are seeing this podcast episode, I'm probably going to have seen it twice, because I went to go see it myself on opening night, and then my friends I'm going to visit, they're going to go see it as well. And so they were like, "Hey, you want to go?" And I'm like, "Sure." And so at first I started to cancel my opening night seeing, but I was like, "No, I'm just going to double dip." Why not? Because more than likely, I think my friends they're going to probably watch it in dub, and I watched it in sub on opening night, so I get to kind of see a little bit of both sides of it. But yeah, but just watching, Yuta's progression over the movie, of him kind of being afraid to interact with anybody because of how dangerous Rika is with attacking people and stuff like that. And him coming to Jujutsu High and first meeting Maki, Panda, and Inumaki and stuff was super dope. I really liked the bond he formed with everybody in the class. I really like how you kind of get to see a more personal side of Maki. little bit more vulnerable side. Once they kind of got to know each other a bit more later on in the movie, and she opened up to him about like what her background and stuff is, which not gonna spoil nothing or whatever, but just certain lines of dialogue when she was talking about what her goal is as far as like getting stronger and then taking revenge on the clan. It's just like it. Manga readers, if you know, you know. Uh, Maki is that chick, but yeah, it just kind of like I said, just like seeing that stuff again in context to what's going on in the manga now, because Yuta is playing a very big part in the current story in the manga right now, and so it's just really nice just kind of having these kind of parallels. Cause in season 1 of the anime, he was in the opening of the anime, and they kind of talk about him, but you never like really see him in the series. You just hear about Yuta left the school or he's out doing missions or whatever, and before this movie, basically there was like a lot of hype around Yuta as far as like for like general fans and general audience, because in the series Yuta is regarded as one of the strongest people in the series, where pretty much the only person, generally speaking, that is stronger than Yuta is Gojo. And then they reveal at the end of the movie that him and Gojo are pretty much like distant relatives, like distant cousins, so to speak. Uh, so that's like another reason for like just seeing just like a slight glimpse of, okay, this is what he's doing uh early on, just only like 6 months or so within like his first year of going to the school, of like, okay, this is how much he's improved in this short time. Like, man, just imagine his actual full-on potential and stuff. And like I said, just me thinking about what he's doing now in the manga currently and stuff, whatever. So, but yeah, that's really dope. Getting to see more of Inumaki's cursed speech stuff actually in action, because we got to see him like a little bit in season 1, but like we truly got to see like how devastating his abilities and stuff are, and man, that ish looks so good. Like when they was fighting Ghetto, when Ghetto invaded the school towards like in the back half of the movie, and just that one attack, when did he say, like, was it plummet or whatever it was he said, and he created that giant crater there in the ground. And yeah, it just like truly shows like, man, like, yeah, this cursed speech is very dangerous. And it was also very dope seeing Yuta use the technique as well, when he just said die, and like all those curses in the area just crushed. And yeah, but just overall, because like I said, I don't necessarily need to go through like a play-by-play of the movie, but overall it was so dope. I loved seeing one of my favorite waifus in Jujutsu Kaisen, Mei Mei, seeing her in her all purple with her white silver hair, seeing her going with her axe, and just kind of getting a little tease for that and stuff. Cause honestly, there were some parts I was like, now granted, it's been a while since I've, read Volume Zero, but some of the stuff I was like, did she actually fight in Volume Zero, or are they just kind of teasing? Cause a lot of this stuff, really starts to get fleshed out or come into more effect pretty much right after where season 1 ended, where you kind of get a little bit more of kind of like Gojo's backstory, and then we head into, of course, the infamous Shibuya incident arc. And so yeah, and it was just kind of like really cool again to see like I said, ghetto in the movie because, it's like, I wonder how many people will actually notice how, in season one, he had like the little line with the stitches in his forehead, but you see in this movie, he doesn't have those stitches, he doesn't have those marks. And so it's kind of like, what's that about? And then learning that, him and Gojo were super close, like they were best friends back in the day, but knowing that, okay, Geto is actually one of the people that got expelled from the school, and getting to see like a taste of his curse techniques and abilities and stuff, whatever, was just like, it's always just really dope just getting to see this series in action and fleshed out. Because like I said, like I enjoy reading the manga just for like the story context or whatever, but like seeing it all play out with the action and the movement and the music and the visuals and all that stuff, yeah, super dope. I super loved this movie. It was just so good. And yeah, I think I'm gonna kind of end that there. I don't necessarily need to go like a play by play for the whole movie, but just know, hey, if for some reason you listen to this and you haven't seen the movie, if you have any interest in Jujutsu Kaisen, if you've seen season one, cool. If you haven't, like I said, this is a prequel movie. Like I said, you might get like some extra context for some stuff, whatever. It might be kind of cool. Like, oh, okay, I'm seeing these characters from season one a year or so younger. But I still just say, hey, if you're an anime fan, if you just love a good action movie, go watch Jujutsu Kaisen 0. Highly recommend. Now, moving on to a couple other things that I've watched this week. I'm going to talk about Ranking of Kings next. So, Ranking of Kings, episode 22. All I can really say is, Daida, what are you doing? What are you doing, my boy? Up here talking about you want to marry Miranjo? What? And it makes me think like man, wait, it kind of makes you like rethink like, well, how old are you, Daida? Because we already kind of like, because we already know, of course, he's younger than Boji, but it's like, okay, are y'all even teens yet? Like we need some extra like context for somebody to be like, because I was hoping that like his mother would have been like, when he told his mom that he wanted to get married, I was hoping that she would maybe at least been like, what, you're only 10 or whatever, I don't know. But yeah, but that was wild. But I know Despa is so salty, and I don't blame him. Cause they come together, they don't really kill the demon, but they decapitate his head, and because early in the episode we got some flashback of more context of Bose and Miranjo's relationship. And pretty much how they kind of got to where they are now, to where, Bose was pretty much raising her for several years up until, from when she was a small child up until she became an adult. And then Miranjo started on this path of like, okay, Bose wants to have power. And then we see her bring Bose to the demon for the first time. And we learn that the demon tells her, like, you promised that you wouldn't do this because we get a flashback to like when the demon was like a small child, to where basically every time somebody makes a wish, he becomes more, what he says, ugly and horrific looking or whatever, more demonic looking. But he makes a deal or whatever, and we know what happens from there. But it kind of gave Daida that context as far as like, okay, that's what happened, yada yada yada. And so the captain decapitates the demon's head, and then Despa says, I'll give your head back, but if you grant me a wish. And Demon's like, all right, cool. What's your wish? And as he's about to wish or try to fix Oaken's immortality, first Boji stops him. Then Daida rushes in and wishes for Miranjo to be given back her body and basically brought back to life. And the demon's like, all right, he does it. And then he puts his head back on. He laughs at Despa and then gone. Despa was so heated. And it's like the captain was ready to try to go and kill Miranjo because he's like, yo, we went through all this so that we can try to help fix Oaken's immortality. But anywho, Despa reached out to Desha and told him, was like, hey, bro, this is what happened. And Desha ended up being like, cool. But that ended up leading him to changing his mind about taking the offer to become the #1 ranked king. And so the episode kind of ends with Desha on his way to whatever this treasure chest is for the person who is the #1 ranked king. Which, speaking of which, during the Bose flashback, we also see that Bose fought one of those gods, and so it kind of makes me think about back to a discussion I had in the Panda's Twitter space a few weeks ago, where we was kind of back in the episode when we found out about all the different gods and stuff, and it made me wonder back then, like, okay, did Bose maybe kill all the gods and stuff, during his tirade or whatever? And we see like, well, he at least killed one, or he went to go fight one. He got messed up, and then he eventually went back and killed it after he got his power. But this is very wild. Like I said, that the Daida freaking revived Miranjo, and now it's gonna make her his wife. Ugh. And that's also kind of a messy situation too, to where it's like your dad raised her from a kid, and she had these strong feelings of affection for your dad to the point to where she pretty much screwed over everybody, got so many people killed, got Boji's mom killed, tried to get your mom killed, and caused all this chaos. And now you're like, yep, that's the woman I want to marry. The one that tried to kill, they killed my brother's mom, they tried to kill my mom, that, went above and beyond so that my dad can be revived from the dead and take over my body. That's the lady I want to marry. No. Daida, time out, flag on the play, buddy. No, that is not the move. But whatever. But yeah, and I think sadly, I think next week is the last freaking episode, y'all, of season 1 of Ranking of Kings. I am very sad to potentially to see this series go for a while, because like I've talked about plenty of times, like we've only season 1 is covering part 1 of the manga, and part 2 of the manga just started in December. So they've done maybe, a handful or so chapters, because I don't even know how often the manga releases in Japan. But the other bad thing too is that, like, even the English version of the manga, like, up until recently, it was barely translated online any, because I think like the last time I looked, they had only and this wasn't even professional at the time. This was just people online that do scans and stuff, had translated only up to the part where Boji split the boulder during his training with Despa. Now there is some company that picked up and they were publishing digital versions of the manga of the Ranking of Kings manga, but even that isn't going to cover too much so far on what they released so far. So yeah, it might be a while because, like I said, because usually in these situations, it's like, oh well, hey, I'll either jump into the manga, and if it's not available officially, you can usually maybe find it online. But this is like a super tough case to where it's like this manga is kind of like so under the radar to where it's like it wasn't even being scanlated really online. So yeah, so it's gonna be a long, painful wait, but let's see next week how this all kind of wraps up. So last anime I kind of want to touch on is a show called Kotaro Lives Alone. Now, I touched on this a little bit last week, but I finished watching all the episodes today. Just as a reminder, this is kind of like a slice of life anime. It's on Netflix. It's 10 episodes long, all run 25 minutes. And it basically follows this 4-year-old boy named Kotaro, who, for unknown reasons at the beginning, is living on his own. Now, I'll say out the gate, this is a show I immediately recommend. If you have any passing interest in this show, even just like the general premise or whatever, the look of it, whatever, check it out. Now, this show, I will say, it definitely tugs on your freaking heartstrings because you kind of had a feeling it might out the gate because it's like, okay, because at first it's like, oh, is this going to be a comedy? This 4-year-old kid living on his own. He's got this like little plastic sword he has. But then as the show goes on, there are some funny moments in there. Do not get me wrong. There is some very wholesome and funny moments in there. But there are also some very serious undertones and topics discussed because now I'm getting into a little bit of spoilers on this, but you find out that Kotaro's mother is dead, and you find out that his father was abusing him of some nature, to the point to where he was basically placed in like this like foster care home, and there was one episode where they did like a little flashback moment to where his neighbor, then whatever. Oh, and I forgot to mention, his neighbors, different people in his apartment complex basically kind of come together to form kind of like a found family. Honestly, kind of makes me think a little bit about Hey Arnold in a way, which is kind of funny because I've been watching that as I've been going to sleep lately because I loved Hey Arnold back in the day. But of course, at least Arnold has, he lives with his grandparents, but I'm kind of using the comparison of just like all the different other people that live in the housing structure kind of becoming Arnold's family. And so that's kind of how it is here where, his direct next door neighbor is a manga artist. One young lady that lived there for a while, she worked at she was like a hostess at a club. The other guy in the suits, I can't remember like what his actual job was, but even his stuff was kind of touching, just like the episode where his son finally comes to visit, and it was just so freaking cute and adorable. Seeing his son with the little sunglasses on, hands in his pockets, trying to be all tough and stuff. But anywho, but yeah, just like the overall tone and just all the different topics that are covered. Like I said, I like how it does it because, like I said, it sprinkles in some comedy and stuff along the way, but it definitely does hit very closely with a lot of these themes. Like I said, as far as kids coming from abusive homes, parents, dying, like I said, the one neighbor who, only, doesn't really get to see his son that often, to, even the situation with like the teacher at school, and even just like how a lot of people feel sorry for Kotaro because he's always by himself and yada yada yada. And Kotaro, he is such a sweet boy, because of how he tries to take on so much on his by himself, because partly because of he feels responsible for how his dad acts and stuff, and you know, and so basically he doesn't want to be a burden to those around him. And so, yeah, man, like it this show just like hit in so many ways and so many moments. You know, I really appreciated the moments to where like where Kotaro was helping people walk in the rain because of a memory he has with his dad, of how his dad handled that situation versus his mom just not really paying attention and caring, or seemingly not paying attention and caring. Um, to just all the characters in the show are just so sweet, um, and so relatable in so many ways. Because even like the lawyer lady that comes around every week, bringing his basically his inheritance money from his mother's life insurance checks or whatever. Which, man, when they reveal that, because you know at first it's kind of like when the show kind of first starts, and that's one thing I like about the show. But you always know once it kind of you get into the show, you know that there's gonna be like some gut punching thing afterwards. But it's like they kind of set things up in a kind of like a cute, innocent way to where it's like, oh, okay, you got a 4-year old that's living on his own. He's renting a full apartment by himself. He's able to go to the store and buy whatever he wants. Seemingly money is no problem. And then you find out that, oh, that's because he is getting these checks every week from his mother's life insurance policy. And that's why he is able to do all this stuff and afford all this stuff, because of that money. Um, and that's one mystery that he still doesn't know fully, even when the season ends. And his neighbor, uh, when they go to visit his mother's grave, that stuff just really hit, because you know his neighbor not wanting, or you know they're basically Karano, uh you know they go to visit his grandparents' grave. That's what it was, and they're cleaning, you know, the headstone or whatever. Well, the family grave thing or whatever, on one side, the side that the Karano is cleaning has Kotaro's mother's name, because cause when they get there, whatever, you know, Kotaro is introducing Karano to, you know, his grandparents' grave and yada yada yada, and he writes out like what his mother's name is spelled like, and he's like, yeah, look, my mother's name is so beautiful, isn't it? And then as Karano is cleaning the other side of the gravestone, he sees the mother's name on the side, and he's like, yo, I cannot let this kid see this. And then it just like even more gut punching, because at the end he has to lie to the kid, because Kotaro asks him, he's like, hey, you know, will I ever get to see my mother again, or something like that or whatever? And he lies, and then Kotaro is like, well, hey, I believe you because I know that you would never lie to me. Oh, man. But Kotaro is such a good kid. I love how much he is into that Tomi-san, whatever that kind of like a anime cartoon, samurai cartoon character he's into. Uh, I love the episode where they go, you know, they find out that there's a movie coming out for it, and then he ends up eventually getting to see the movie. I love the episode where he bonded with uh, Karino's manga editor and goes to his house and see all this Tomi-san, uh, or Terasano, whatever that thing's name is pronounced. All this like merchandise and arcade game and all this stuff that he has. Uh, and yeah, but yeah, Kotaro, he is just such a sweet boy overall. I love seeing him, you know, kind of teaching his classmates and stuff, or just other kids he's meeting, you know, to kind of like, hey, you know, don't take your parents for granted. You need to be able to do stuff on your own. Cause like that one kid, that was like super spoiled, where like he spilled juice on himself and he would call in his the housemaid to come in and clean him up and to do this and to do that. And yeah, but overall, like I said, just I can't gush enough about this show. But I freaking loved Kotaro Lives Alone so much. Like I said, it really hits you in the heart, like nobody's business. But like I said, if you're still listening to this, and like I said, if you have any interest in that show, go watch it, go check it out. It is so sweet, so wholesome. But like I said, but also very gut wrenching in so many ways. Heck, even like I said, every character that gets introduced, like yeah, they might have like some weird kind of like goofy quirk you can kind of laugh at about them, but it's like a lot of them have like some really deep, crazy, like some really deep stuff going on, and find out, okay, they do have ways they can kind of relate to Kotaro and stuff like that. Because I even appreciated the dentist episode too, whatever, to where you learn that like the dentist, because like his assistant is like why do you schedule all these like super long appointments for these kids when it's like it really maybe takes like 15 minutes or whatever. Why are you scheduling for an hour? And then finding out that backstory as far as like he didn't pay attention to this one girl, and basically she ended up dying. What was it? Was it dying, or she got taken away to child services, something like that, or whatever? She ended up getting taken. She basically no longer came around. I can't remember, like I said, if she ended up dying or she just got taken away by child services or something. But him learning from that moment of like, okay, you know what, because of how many bad cavities and stuff that the girl had, and her kind of trying to come up through that one day, the day before her scheduled appointment, and him being like, no, tell her she got to wait until her appointment tomorrow. And then unfortunately she never came, and she never will come again. So yeah, but yeah, I love this show. Kotaro will sit up there right next to Boji for me, as far as like sweet innocent children that have been through too much for their age. But yeah, Kotaro, I love him. It kind of makes me excited also to see like Anya and Spy Family next anime season. So, but yeah, go check out Kotaro Lives Alone. And so last thing I want to touch on today, and let me see if I can get this pulled up a little bit. Hold on real quick. Toonami. Today is the 25th anniversary of Toonami. March 17th, 1997. Wow is all I can truly say to that. And so, like I said, kind of just kind of want to end today's show. Like I said, just kind of taking a stroll down memory lane with Toonami. Because honestly, I am glad that Toonami is still around nowadays. Even though I haven't really watched it in so long, only time I really get to see Toonami nowadays is like if I'm if I'm ever traveling or something, whatever, and I'm at a hotel on a Saturday night, I'll turn it on to look at. But I'm still happy that it exists. For people in places that might not have the best internet, or just might not have all these different streaming services and stuff, it still serves its purpose. And so Toonami is honestly a huge pillar in my life, and I feel like so many other people's lives, for introducing us to anime in the way that it did. And so for me, some of like my fondest memories with Toonami, uh, is hold on. Well, before I get into mine, I'm just gonna shout out a couple of people just so I make sure I don't forget. Um, Shout out to Matt B. He said, because I asked a couple of people like, hey, let me know what your thoughts are or memories of Toonami, and so Matt said, I will never forget the good old days coming home from elementary school and watching Toonami until dinner. I'm gonna touch on that in a second, but I'm right there with you, buddy. And then other buddy of mine, Otaku in Training, says thanks to Toonami, I witnessed this moment, and it was Vegeta versus shoot, I can't remember the Lord. It's been so long. The tall dude and the Ginyu Force with the orange hair. I can't remember his name, but basically that moment. But thanks to Toonami, I witnessed this moment, which hooked me onto the series and started my interest in anime back in high school. My love of working out stems from this series, but these days that love is more like a crush now. But yeah, so for me, so growing up, for majority of my youth, pretty much up until I got to middle school, most of the school year, I would go out to my grandma's house in the country every day. And so, my grandma, she had, cable, she had all the satellite, all that stuff, whatever. So, growing up, I was a very good student. So much on to the fact to where I either made sure I had all my homework, assignments, whatever done. Honestly, sometimes before I left school, or if not, I did it on the bus ride home because we lived out in the country, and so it was oftentimes an hour or so drive from the school to my grandmother's house. Because, like I said, we stayed way deep out in the country outside of town. So, so I'll make sure I had everything I need to have done before I got home. Get off the bus, rush in the house, just in time. And the main series I remember watching, for the most part, growing up was Dragon Ball Z, Hamtaro. It's Hamtaro time, Hamtaro. Shout out to Tail from Mike Chick Waifu, King Teliano. Cause he be bringing up Hamtaro all the time, but yeah, Hamtaro, Dragon Ball, Zoids is another favorite of mine growing up back in the day for on weekdays after school. But yeah, those are kind of like the main ones that I rocked with. At least that like immediately comes to mind when I think back to that time frame in my life. And then of course the weekends, man, every Saturday night, of course, Inuyasha and that one and the ending theme, it is just playing in my mind. Bokudachiwa, dun 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 dun. So good. Of course, I have lots of memories as well. In my, I think this was a little bit before I became a teen, so maybe like when I was like 11 or 12. But I remember when I was around that age, I also spent a lot of time, going to stay with my brother and sister-in-law's houses, growing up during the summers or just different any holiday break. But another kind of a traumatizing memory I have of Toonami is that freaking Death Note intro, the kind of like death metal one. Because oftentimes, too many times to count, I would fall asleep with the TV on, and I would get awakened to the start of it, the score. Yeah, loud scream. So like generally, when I heard that, when I heard it the first time and I like woke up, I would be scrambling to try to find a remote or to try to hit the volume button on the TV, something. Because if I didn't get to it in time, it was not going to be a happy time. Because if my sister-in-law got woken up, because this happened before, middle of the night, Saturday nights, and that man, yeah, but yeah, watching that stuff, of course, Naruto, and this was honestly my first time I got like a small taste of One Piece, but I didn't actually watch One Piece until decades later. I was within the last 10 years, I'll just say, is when I started, is when I got into One Piece. But I remember seeing like little, it got my attention or whatever, like the little bit I saw on TV then. But yeah, Death Note, Inuyasha, Big O, even though I never really watched Big O back in the day, I thought about it like a lot of times, like watching that now, just for the sake of just having it cleared out my memory. I want to also give a shot, because that's another news thing I want to just say, just for people that are fan of the series. They announced, along with this 25th anniversary, that they're doing 2 new Fooly Cooly series, which Fooly Cooly is another dark spot in my anime history to where I've never watched Fooly Cooly, even though, yes, I know, it's only 6 episodes. Honestly, sometime by this summer, I need to just sit down and at least just watch those 6 episodes and just get it done. Because one of my roommates in college, Travis, that was like his all-time favorite show was Fooly Cooly. But I just, I've started watching like a couple times over the years, but I just never just went through the 6 episodes. So, hey, it happens sometimes. But yeah, but another anime I have to shout out. Because I don't know how many people have ever actually even seen or heard of this show. Let me see. Let's see if I can find an actual decent image of it. Because honestly, this was the show that, hold on, let me get it pulled up. This show called Kotaro, or Android Kotaro. Now, there was a point in time to where I had spent years trying to remember this anime, because honestly, I don't know if I've ever heard anybody else ever talk about this show or acknowledge it, but Kotaro I found really dope. But the thing that I always remembered in my mind, for one, I always remembered the way he looked like, this kind of like half blue, half red look. But the main guy, and you can kind of see it on his back there, but let me see, I don't know if there's another picture that shows it better. But basically, he also had a guitar. And so, honestly, man, I wish I could play the intro music for this, but I don't know how that stuff works with copyright and all that weird stuff. But if you could just look up and watch the intro for Kotaro, like it's kind of like a haunting, somber intro music. So yeah, but Kotaro, but yeah, for years I could not remember what this show was called, and me doing my research thing, just like, because like I said, all I remember was like, okay, I remember some android dude and the main character, he had a guitar, so it was like Android with guitar, and then eventually I came across it, and so it's okay, Kotaro, Android Kotaro. Now I know that there is also a like a live action or something, or whatever. I've never seen that, but I definitely one day want to go back and rewatch this, just for nostalgia's sake, and especially, like I said, with this being the 25th anniversary, I need to do that. I need to do that at some point, because it only had 13 episodes, and it looks like there was an OVA, a couple of OVAs, but and it aired from October 2000 to January 2001. So yeah, another reason why my memory is probably foggy is because I was 10. Actually, 10 just turned 11, because my birthday is January 6th, so yeah, 10, 11 years old. But yeah, Kotaro, that's definitely a fond memory of mine as well. Like I said, of course, watching Naruto when I got a little bit older, through high school and stuff, and Bleach, of course. But yeah, let me actually look up, because I had found a while back. Yeah, oh, shoot, no. Because you can see because there's a site I have found where you can see like a Toonami's program history for like different years and stuff. But anywho, let me see. Oh, of course, Trigun, Yu Yu Hakusho, Outlaw Star. That's one I never watched on Toonami back in the day. I did eventually watch it later on, because actually my friend Bree, the one I showed I'm getting the Made in Abyss volumes for, she was a big fan of that, and when I met her in college, she's actually the one that introduced me to that series. So yeah, but yeah, just so many series. Dead Man Wonderland, Full Metal Alchemist, Ghost in the Shell, Iruka 7. Just see if there's any other standouts. But yeah, and of course, the infamous Toonami revival is something I will definitely never forget, because I remember I was in college, and actually this was my last semester of college. Matter of fact, a few weeks before I graduated, because I graduated college April 20th. Yeah, because I remember 420. April 20th, 2012. And I'll never forget, because this was back when I kind of first started getting on Twitter, because the thing that got me on Twitter originally, and I probably talked about this before, was Borderlands 2, because of or was it the original Borderlands? I can't remember. But anyway, whatever. Twitter. But I remember seeing, was it Twitter, Facebook, whatever I was on, seeing Toonami trending, and it's like, that is weird, because at that point Toonami had been gone. Let me see, when did Toonami stop? Let me look up real quick at this. Let's see. Yeah, so it stopped like around like 2008 or so. So pretty much a decade plus. It has stopped. And so April Fool's Day. Now, originally, it came back, because of seemingly a April Fool's prank. And let's see. Okay, yeah. So, on April Fool's 2012, they aired Bleach, Dragon Ball Z, Gundam Wing, Tenchi Muyo, Outlaw Star, Big O, Yu Yu Hakusho, Blue Submarine, or Blue Submarine number 6, Trigun, Astro Boy, and Gigantor. What a lineup. Like, you want to do a wave of nostalgia on April Fool's Day. Like, that was a fantastic day because, like, when I heard about it, I was like, yo, turn on the TV. Me and all my roommates, everybody, like, I was putting on Facebook, everywhere, like, hey, yo, Toonami is back tonight. And so it was an April Fool's thing, but, like, the response that they got reignited the flame for Toonami, and then they officially brought it back a couple months later in May with the lineup of Bleach, Deadman Wonderland, Casher and Sins, Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, Ghost in the Shell, and Cowboy Bebop. Wow, that's a dope lineup. To kind of like kick things off coming back, but and I love how over the years, and shout out to the final season of Samurai Jack getting put on to Toonami for that, but over the years I've appreciated Toonami still being there because it has given modern day fans and just modern generations even more exposure to stuff because I love how they continue to do like reruns of older stuff from time to time, but you know they will sprinkle in like, okay, Dragon Ball Super, okay, some JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, just kind of glancing through Hunter x Hunter, which with them doing Toonami still, it has also kind of helped some series also get English dubs because some of these series was out in Japan for years and people were like, man, are we ever going to get an English dub? And then, hey, they, Funimation was doing a partnership with Toonami over the years to where, okay, they're dubbing it and it's going there and stuff. But yeah, I'm just kind of just glancing through Hunter x Hunter, Gundam, Iron-Blooded Orphans, Space Dandy is one I still haven't really ever gotten into, but I heard, okay stuff about. Of course, My Hero Academia, Tokyo Ghoul. What other stand-ups that they've done? Of course, newer stuff like Black Clover. The other new Fooly Cooly series that they did. One Punch Man. Sorry, I know I'm kind of rambling, but like I said, just like a trip of nostalgia, just looking over this list, and just like I said, just seeing like what all stuff. I think I already said Black Clover, Mob Psycho 100, Attack on Titan for more recent stuff. Megalobox, very dope that they had that on there. Pop Team Epic. Sword Art Online, the newer seasons, Boruto. I'm in 2019 now. And like I said, I love how Food Wars. I love how they're constantly cycling through Dr. Stone, Fire Force. How they're cycling through the older stuff and the newer stuff. So it's always a mix of both. Demon Slayer. Let me see. Let's go to Promised Neverland. Rest in Peace Season 2. Let's see. Any other standouts? Because I'm up to 2020 now. Assassination Classroom. That's really dope one that they did on there. I'm glad. And yeah. Overall, Toonami is so special to the community. Yasuhime, Fina Pirate Princess. Yo, thank you Toonami / Crunchyroll and y'all's partnership for bringing us Fina Pirate Princess last year. That was so dope, and I hope to see them continue to do more crossover things. Because actually, let me see. Toonami, Crunchyroll shows. Crunchyroll. What they did, that was Blade Runner one of them, I guess. Shenmue. So, but yeah, but that's one I'm glad to see, that type of stuff is still kind of happening. And of course, what perfect one to kind of wrap it all up with, they also, and of course, shout out to OG Sailor Moon as well. I watched that a lot growing up, and of course, Sailor Moon just had its 30th anniversary recently. But one of the most recent ones that they just added to Toonami, Made in Abyss. And with that, I feel there is no better stopping point for the podcast this week. Like I said, my activity online is going to be a little bit spotty. Hopefully a little bit spotty, because like I said, I'm trying to do better about, my, taking these breaks and stuff, whatever. So, because like I said, I talked about it last week on the anniversary episode, like, yeah, break, and I had a whole week with my family gone, and yeah, kind of squandered it a little bit, but it's okay. You live and you learn. Best believe. If I get this again anytime soon, but it's gonna be some months before I get a perfect window where everybody's gone from the house. So, but it is what it is. But once again, like I said, happy anniversary to Toonami. 25 freaking years. And with that, let's kind of close it out. So, as always, thank you for listening and watching. You can find me everywhere online at Dad Needs to Talk. That's Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. You can check out my website, dadneedstotalk.com. Make sure you're subscribed to both the YouTube channel so you can get videos of everything I do. So that's youtube.com/dadneedstotalk. Which I was very happy once I crossed 100 subscribers, I can actually change and actually have Dad Needs to Talk as the YouTube direct page thing. My manga falling behind me. But yeah, subscribe to the YouTube channel, get the videos. Make sure you're following the podcast on all, whatever podcast service of your choice. Check it out there. And yeah, also, like I said, if you enjoy the work I do and want to show some extra support, you can always go to Dad Needs to Talk. Oh Lord, patreon.com/Dad Needs to Talk. Still learning that one. And like I said, thanks again to Matt and Miss K for being there for me day one. And yeah, I hope y'all have an awesome week. Hopefully I have a cool, chill, and safe trip to and fro, my friend's house and stuff. And hopefully I have a chill week next week, or the week of this podcast going up. But yeah, just be on the lookout for all the reviews coming out this week. Check out the stuff that came out recently. Make sure y'all check out my downfall and Solanin self-reflection discussion, and of course still going through 20th Century Boys. I'm gonna take some of those with me on my trip. And yeah, enough rambling. Once again, it is past midnight and I need to eat and all that stuff so I can get ready for this trip tomorrow so I can be on the road. But y'all stay awesome. I love y'all. Thank y'all so much for rocking with your boy. And I'll catch y'all next week. Peace.